Anne Frank was a Jewish teenager who unexpectedly changed the world with mere words brought into the world by her diary. This very diary opened the eyes of millions to the horrors of the Holocaust and the savagery brought by the Nazi Party's genocide and pure racism. Her sheer depth of knowledge surpassed that of many others her age at that point in time, and her enduring willpower gave her hope to seek life in the darkest of moments any person could only begin to imagine. Her utter determination still leaves modern-day people awestruck, bewildered, and inspired by the fact that a teen could have such a powerful effect on the world, while hidden away in the secret of the hope to preserve her life in an attic. The ugly hand of racism still touches us all even through modern days, and this diary shows we can fight against it. Anne Frank encountered fierce racism throughout her life, and this is evident in her diary. Anneliese Marie Frank was born on June 12, 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany to Edith and Otto Frank. The first years in Germany were very happy for the family. Anne attended Sixth Montessori School, and her father Otto Frank was a lieutenant in the German army during World War I and later became a businessman in both Germany and the Netherlands. Anne also had an older sister named Margaret, born in 1926. Anne and her family were an upper-middle-class German-Jewish family. However, Anne was objectively born in an era where dramatic changes in German society would soon break the Franks' happiness. The time era in which Adolf Hitler won control of the government in 1933, the Franks went to Amsterdam, Netherlands. There, Anne attended Amsterdam's Sixth Montessori School in 1934. Anne was a bright and inquisitive student. Anne and her family restored their happiness, started over, and felt free throughout the rest of the 1930s. During this time, Anne and Margaret lived a happy and normal childhood once again, with all kinds of Dutch and German, including Jewish and Christian friends that would only last for a short period of time. Life for the Jews as well as the Franks grew more and more difficult. Anne died in March 1945 when she was only 15 in Lower Saxony, Germany.
Between 1933 and 1945, a horrific era was born and specifically engaged to discriminate and wipe out the entire Jewish population. This arose all because of a man named Adolf Hitler saw his way up of control and power of the people. It began when Hitler joined a small political party known as the National Socialist German Workers' Party in 1919, which he advanced as a leader and further on the Chancellor of Germany. In May 10, 1933, Nazis took away all types of viewpoints that were available out to the public. About 25,000 books were burned and destroyed, and a few were written by Jews and very famous authors. Many schools also took a great impact onto influencing the students, forcing them to read books about the Nazis, celebrating special events that involved Nazis, and praising Hitler. In September 15, 1935, the Nuremberg Laws were established. These laws revoked the Jews' rights and identified people as Jews if you were related to 3 or more of your grandparents that were Jews, even if they or you converted into a different religion. On 1938 to 1941, the Frank family tried to escape from Germany in order to emigrate to the Netherlands, but failed to do so. Option B was a plan to go and hide. By 1942, Anne's parents were prepared and the family began to make a move to go into the secret annex, which was the house behind Otto Frank's office. The whole period of time, from 1933 to 1945, Nazis constructed about 20,000 concentration camps, where Jews were taken in, abused, and killed. As a result, Hitler declared his final solution to murder all Jews of Europe. Approximately 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazi regime.
During the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands, the Franks family lost their business because Jews were forbidden from owning business beginning in October 1940. Otto Frank managed to keep control of his company by officially signing ownership over to 2 of his Christian associates, Joe Kleiman and Victor Kaiser, and continued to run the company. Anne and her sister Margaret were forced to join a segregated Jewish school in 1940. On her 13th birthday, Anne received a red checkered diary. Writing was the only way for her to escape all her troubles. When I write, I can shake off all my cares, Anne wrote in her diary. Anne became so gripped to her diary that she began writing in it since the very first moment she received it, writing, "I hope I will be able to confide in everything to you, as I have never been able to confide in anyone, and I hope you will be a great comfort and support." On July 6, 1942, the family went into hiding in an empty space at the back of her father's company building. There, 4 others hid as well. Herman van Pels, Otto Frank's business partner. his wife, August Van Pels, their son, Peter Van Pels, and Fritz Pfeffer, the dentist. Anne never stepped outside. To pass the time trapped in her room, she wrote to her diary. On February 3, 1944, she wrote, "I've reached the point where I hardly care whether I live or die." Anne would brighten her room with pictures of things she loved. For the 2 years Anne hid, her diary became her best friend. As Anne spent her time thinking about life, she records her thoughts in her diary. On March 16, 1944, she realizes, "The nicest part is being able to write down all my thoughts and feelings, otherwise I'd absolutely suffocate." Anne addresses all her writings to members of an imaginary club of girlfriends, of whom Kitty is dearest to her. She used her diary to get her frustrations off her chest. Life in a room where 8 other people lived was not easy. To the left of the secret annex, there was a giant chestnut tree. Anne becomes astonished by the tree day by day. As the seasons passed, the tree was the only way to look at the world that surrounded her. Anne wrote, "The world would keep on turning without me, and I can't do anything to change events anyways." Anne's understanding of the world was very definite. Anne wrote, "Although I'm only 14, I know quite well what I want. I know who is right and who is wrong. I have my opinions, my own ideas and principles, and although it might sound pretty mad from an adolescent, I feel more of a person than a child. I feel quite independent of anyone." Anne tended to be positive when she wrote in her diary. In it she wrote, "As long as this exists, this sunshine and this cloudless sky, and as long as I can enjoy it, how can I be sad?" The diary also included evidence of the war and significant details. She wrote about her hopes and dreams after all this was over. Anne wrote, "But I want to achieve more than that. I can't imagine having to live like Mother, Miss Van Dan, and all the women who go about their work and are then forgotten. I need to have something besides a husband and children to devote myself to. I don't want to have lived in vain like most people do."
On August 1st, 1944, Anne's final entry was written in her diary. Her family and the others that lived inside the secret annex were captured because of an anonymous betrayal, and then were taken into a facility by the German security police. They ended up in a concentration camp called Westerbork Transit, then were deported into Auschwitz. Luckily for Anne Frank, she was placed into her barracks near her mother and sister. On October 28, 1944, Anne and her sister Margaret transferred to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, with her mother witnessing their leave. Days later, she became ill and eventually died of starvation and exhaustion. In March 1945, first Margaret died due to a disease called typhus, and later Anne Frank.
Anne's diary was saved by Miep Gies after she was captured. Her diary was found and read by her father when he returned to Amsterdam after the war. Otto was left amazed by the words in Anne's diary. He discovered a new person when reading Anne's words. It was his daughter's legacy. Otto knew Anne would have wanted her diary published. Diary letters from June 14, 1942 to August 1, 1944 were published on June 25, 1947. It was published in 67 different languages. A museum is now dedicated to Anne Frank in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Anne's tragic story still is unknown by many, but because of her valuable words, she is unforgettable.